Good morning. May I say to you all, Happy Victory in Europe Day. A fantastic victory and worthy of remembrance, and certainly go back and think about some who never lived to celebrate that victory. Think about what that victory was all about. It was a victory over fascism. It was a victory over probably one of the most evil things that happened in that and any other century. A victory as part of a world war. Remember, it was a victory won by all people of all classes and many, indeed all nations, who fought together to defeat evil, a fascist evil, an evil that never kind of went away, but was at least beaten in its most extreme form. But have no doubt, it's never gone away. The same evil that was behind that, the same evil that we as the Allied nations defeated, it's still there. It's still, in many senses, it's not so much fascism now as what I would describe as friendly fascism that manages this country and America and many other countries, where it's become just kind of a cult of the leader. Look at this, Brits, by the way, as you're thinking about that great victory, that important, life-changing victory. Are we not being managed by the cult of the leader? The cult of Trump? The cult of Johnson? As we are, if you took it per head of population, there's plenty of evidence to say that we are now the first largest in the world when it comes to COVID deaths. What have we got at the moment? We wake up and it's over 30,000. Again, read the Financial Times. You could at least double that figure today. What do I think about the plans for easing lockdown? Well, I'm cynical to the extreme. You see, I don't believe that herd immunity has ever gone away. That demonic, Dominic plan that was right there from the start was there when the herd was allowed to gather at Cheltenham, was there when the herd was allowed to gather at sports events, was there while the herd was still gathering in public places like cinemas, pubs, theatres, restaurants. The herd immunity and the need to acquire it has never gone away. Just bear that in mind. I think that by relaxing it, even if it is only to a limited extent, allowing the kind of outside activities that are now going to become possible, it's getting us ready to accept we're all going back to work. And why are we all going back to work? Why are we all going back to work earlier than we really should? It will come. As I've said thousands of times, the billionaire class are running out of money. And as they run out of money, they run out of power, because that's what makes them so powerful. That's why they control everything that happens in this world. not just in this country, not just in America, not just in Britain, but in the world. The billionaire controlling classes are getting a little bit upset because their share values appear to be taking a nosedive. Although I've heard others say things are doing okay on the stock exchange, yeah? So, but that's what's happening. That's why, as I always say, they're screaming at Boris to get you back to work. Now, going back to work, do you actually even believe that there will be proper measures in place to keep you safely socially distanced? Not only socially distanced, do you believe that there will be proper measures in place to protect you from potentially catching the virus? Well, there should be a risk assessment done. That's under H&E regulations, H&S, health and safety regulations. There should be a risk assessment done for every single workplace. But that won't have to be made public. There's no law to say that. And it won't necessarily even have to be complied with, because there's no law to say that although the risk is assessed, it has to be minimised, taken care of. Yeah, the law doesn't say that. It just says that we must assess the risks. So look at it this way. Tories want you back at work as soon as possible. Yeah, don't expect, even though the TUC are pushing for this, yeah, don't expect to go back to a safe workplace. And know that even people who are refusing to do jobs, not just nurses and whatever, because of the non-provision of PPE, are being sacked. Okay? It's as straightforward as that. If you go back to work and you complain that in your call centre or in your warehouse you are not adequately protected, you will be sacked. Yep. If you look, for example, perhaps you're in a warehouse and you've got to move a pallet from one place to another using one of those, either a sack barrow or a trolley, yep. And you go, no, I'm not doing that. They'll go, and you say, why? Not properly provided with PPE. They'll go, look, either do it or we sack you. You'll go, still, I'm not doing it. You'll be sacked. Okay? They can do that with anyone they want. Yeah, and there's plenty of workers left to replace you. So remember that. And the other one I'm thinking about quite strongly, it kind of relates to the Mothballed Nightingale hospitals. Now, here is my thought, which I developed from someone else's comments on that one. Obviously, they haven't been used because they couldn't be properly staffed. Yeah? Do you remember there was this plan to actually get, cabin crew who've been trained in CPR in? There was this plan to have runners going from one station to another while one nurse supervised about 50 beds. Yeah? There was this plan to get the army in and everything. It was all there, wasn't it? Yeah? But no matter how many volunteers came forwards, no matter how many cabin crew were not working, unfortunately something like only a very few of our people were treated in those hospitals, whereas, a tremendous number of people were left in care homes to die with their suffering unrelieved. Yep. Well, what I think is going to happen is this. When we finally make it back to work and we release all the restrictions, yeah, wave 2 is going to hit, and it's going to hit big time. Yeah, it's going to run as they want for herd immunity. Demonic Dominic, that's what they still want. Wave 2 is going to run through the population, and we're going to get our 60% herd immunity. Now, to get that will mean a lot of people are going to die. Yeah, a lot of older, weaker, sicker people are going to just die. It's as straightforward as that. If you happen to be in your 20s, your 30s or whatever, even if you're a kid in your teens, for many of you, that is going to involve your parents. Yeah? They're going to get it. They're going to die. Yeah? Now, to the point of leaving the Nightingale hospitals just mothballed. By then, people will be so desperate, yeah, that even though they can't staff the hospitals, they'll be used, in a sense, just to kind of warehouse people, give them very limited care until they die, and then think of all those mortuaries that are attached to take the dead. Yeah? The mortuaries are attached. They're there. They're ready. Yeah? Getting them to use those hospitals will, again, it'll look as though the government is doing something. It'll look like they are. It was a great PR stunt. It really looked like they were doing something. And as those hospitals fill up, they'll just become kind of waiting stations for the mortuary. And then after that, well, how many graves are we going to dig? Yeah? How is the funeral industry even going to cope with this? How's it coping now? How many coffins can we manufacture? How many crematoria can get going in one go? Believe me, once lockdown is released, and it's going to be properly released, although not this weekend, I promise the government will release it far too soon. Yep, they were the latest to lockdown, and they will be the first, or amongst the first, to unlock. I promise. They want herd immunity. Yeah, but more than anything, they want to keep their power through money. Yeah, when it comes to human life, to this government in particular, there is profit on one side, there is life on another. And even when Chelsea pensioners on VE Day are dying and the transmission rate is rising, remember, they want money. Billionaires want to get back to earning billions for themselves. Yeah? And that's going to matter much more than whether your mum, your uncle, your aunt, your dad, your brother, your sister, doesn't matter. They are disposable. Profit, mega profit, is what matters. And they will effectively die to save the economy. Take care, and don't forget, VE Day. Incredible to support. And, you know, certainly I wouldn't be having this conversation, I wouldn't be making this video if we hadn't beaten those fascists in World War II.